Hello, this is Dr. Gay from First Look MRI, and this is an 18-year-old male with complaints of a new bump in the base of his third finger. It's near the palm, and we can see on this view we're slicing in short axis through the hand, going out into the fingers. You can see the thumb here, this is the pinky finger, and the bump is right here, this little bright spot. That is a little fluid pocket adjacent to the third finger. We can see it's within the subcutaneous soft tissues. The bone is right here. This is the proximal phalanx. And we can see this dark band. This is the flexor tendon. The extensor tendon is along the back. It's much smaller. The flexor tendons are here, much larger. And we see that this fluid pocket here, this little bright area, is really sharply defined. It's very uniform and it's very bright. And when you see something that's very uniform and bright, it's usually a small fluid pocket, a cyst. And we can see that this is intimately associated with the flexor tendon or the flexor tendon sheath. Now we're going to look at the same thing in profile. On this view, if we slice over one, we can see the tip of the finger here. We can see the flexor tendon that comes along here along the front. Here's the palm. And we can see that little fluid pocket right there coming out or touching that flexor tendon sheath. So when we see lesions in the finger like this, we think about three main things. Number one, we think about a ganglion cyst arising from the flexor tendon sheath. Those are usually very bright and uniform, just like this. Again, they hug the flexor tendon sheath, and this is a very common location for them to be. So this looks like this fits all the criteria for a benign ganglion cyst, a benign little fluid collection arising from the flexor tendon sheath. Again, because it's sharply defined, very uniform, and very bright. The other things we can think about are an inclusion cyst or epidermal cyst, and that's where the epithelium gets infolded beneath the skin and a little fluid pocket will develop. And those usually hug the skin. Since they come out of the skin, they usually don't hug the tendon sheath like this. This is not a typical appearance. They can be a little bit more complex too. This is very uniform. And again, it doesn't look like it comes out of the skin so much as it comes out of the tendon sheath. And the last thing is a giant cell tumor of the tendon sheath. And a giant cell tumor is a lesion that's benign. It can look just like this, but usually instead of being really bright and uniform on this sequence, it will be dark and more heterogeneous on this sequence. So because this has a wrong signal characteristics, it's bright instead of dark and very uniform instead of heterogeneous, then we think this is a benign ganglion cyst arising from the flexor tendon sheath. And again, this is a pretty common location for that as well. So that's all those things come together to help. And that's it, a ganglion cyst of the flexor tendon sheath of the third digit.